Welcome back everyone to the Songs of Waves and Wind, where today I have been asked to deliver an apology? Well, something like that. I suppose we should go up to the beacon and find out what's going on up there. Well, at least this one's not lit. That's a step in the right direction. Especially considering, yes, the war is over, so we don't want lit beacons at this time. Hello there.
Welcome to King's Gondor, friend.
Judging by your hurried steps, you seem to have much in your mind. Why not stay a while and take in the view? The sight of Ethelon to the north is always calming. Alright, I guess I could take a peek up to the north. Oh, hello there, Orthor.
Leave me be!
I am not upset! Really? Oh, then why do you have red eyes? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell, and I didn't mean to make Xenda worry. I was just writing a letter to Mr. Milder. I wanted to say sorry, but he might think that I'm trying to bother him, or that I'm trying to play more pranks. Oh, please, could you go back and give my letter to him? It's very important. Alright, I'll go back as soon as I finish taking a look to the north. This has a good view of Ethelon. Ah yes, last time I was here there were Corsairs all over the place. Now let's see what we got. Smoke from Corsair camps fires no longer chokes the air of Ethelon. Okay, so we no longer see any smoke from Corsair campfires. I suppose that's good. Alright, I had a nice calming view there. It's a lot calmer than the last time I looked at it.
I never thought to see the days of peace come again.
Too many of my waking hours have been spent watching Ethelon with dread in my heart. We would have been no match for the Corsairs there. Perhaps that is cowardly of me to admit, but it's the truth. And yet, when I look out towards Ethelon now, I feel hope. Did you hear that the elves are turning the harbor into a garden? May it remain a safe haven forevermore. But Ethelon is not the only place I'd like to point out. Behold Dol Amroth to the west. Alright. Well, I've been to Dol Amroth also. Ah, there is Dol Amroth. I'm sure I'll be there soon enough. Let's have a look there. The waters of the bay glitter, now clear of the Corsairs' dark ships. Oh yeah. We no longer see massive numbers of Corsair ships, including the Night Jewel, around in this area.
I never thought to see the days of peace come again.
Whenever I look at Dol Amroth, a part of me still believes that I will see Corsair ships marring the bay. Despair often overtook me during the war, and I wondered how the city would fall. Our troubles aren't over, and indeed, some scars may never heal, but we are still here, are we not? We are still here. May there be happier days ahead of you, Pineleaf, and should you find yourself plagued by dark thoughts, you are always welcome to return here. Alright, thank you. Now, I need to return to town and deliver a little letter. Ah, here's Mule-Deer. Hello there.
Welcome to King's Gondor, friend.
This letter is completely illegible. Well, thank you for delivering this very important message. I suppose I'll have to go up to the beacon myself and ask Othar what he wrote. Oh, don't worry. I'll make sure to let Senadel know of his whereabouts. Alright. There we go. Now that we've taken care of that, what's left? I suppose the best option is to go and pay the elves a visit and see how the haven now looks after it's been repaired. Well, I suppose that repairs are currently being taken on the place. Most likely it'll take a few years to fix it. After all, elves do like to take their time in doing things. So, on to the haven, and maybe if I'm lucky, I'll run to a drake or two along the way. Ah! There's a drake right over there! Must be a favorite resting spot for them. Well, oops. He doesn't care about being ambushed, I guess. Any more in the area, just in case? Nope. Ah! Back to Ethelund. Now, this place certainly looks better than it did last time, especially with the lack of corsairs and black-sailed ships.
Hail!
On the behalf of all the Avrim, thank you for returning these relics, my friend, and thank you for passing on Dolvir's message. I look forward to seeing him again. You're welcome to linger in the gardens for as long as you'd like. Alright? At least somebody appreciates lingering. Now, let's see what they all have to say. Hello there.
What tidings do you bring?
Megavonin traveler, would you like to plant these flowers? I have seeds to spare. The corsairs unwittingly carried the seeds of some foreign weed with them when they landed on these shores. As a result, many flowers of one type have withered. I wish to plant more of them. Brethel does not quite believe that my seeds will survive, but she has not stopped me. If you ask me, I'd say that she hopes to be proven wrong. Now, I've said too much. Now, at any rate, I have already prepared a number of flower beds around Ethelond for you. Oh, go forth and plant. Alright, so we shall plant. Here's a place to plant. Here's another place to plant. All sorts of places to plant. I think I'm gonna be out of seeds soon. This must be Brenneriel. Hello?
Will you lend me your ear?
Megavonin, have you seen these weeds around Ethelond? Brenneriel holds up a fistful of what appears to be bristly plants. I have studied many native plants, and not once have I ever seen one similar to this. Neither animal nor pest will eat these weeds, and they steal the resources that our garden requires. Doubtless the seeds accompanied the corsairs on their long voyage here. If Kennelet's new flowers are to thrive, then I must uproot every weed here. Will you help me? Alright, okay, fine. So, I need to plant more flowers and to destroy some invasive weeds. I'm wondering... Oh boy, that... I don't know what these things thrive on. And what's here that makes them tick. Are they just going to just stay growing forever because they think it's a nice place, or is the season going to turn and they're all just going to wither out? Well, I suppose I'll never find out. I suppose I do need to be careful to make sure I don't accidentally bring any more of these to the Shire. Well, here's a fistful of them.
How can I be of service?
Now, Kennelet's flowers have a better chance to survive, and that's more than enough for me. Thank you. Alright. Apparently she feels that if those weeds are here, the flowers will not survive. Now, what about the plants I made?
May I help you?
Perhaps the next time you return, you shall see the fruit of your labors, and perhaps, Venerio will not be his dower. Well, we hope so. We could hope so. Well, it was good to see that place again for a moment, but now I think it's time for me to head over to Dol Amroth. Here we are, back in Dol Amroth, and it appears to still be in one piece. So that's good to hear. Oh! Hello there, Rosaran.
Let us go to speak with Prince Imrahil, my friend.
I will bring us by the quickest way. After all, I spent many years in the service of this city. All right, let's go.
It is good to see cheer restored to the Palace of the Swan. When last I was here, the mood was grim.
Grim indeed, if I remember correctly. Many of the prince's court and the greatest part of the Swan Knights went with Imrahil to Minas Tirith for the waging of the war, but his daughter Lothrio managed to rule the city while he was away. This Dol Amroth still stands as a testament to her ability, and tells me that she has learned much from her father, right?
I introduce to the court King Elisar and Queen Arwen and their loyal companions.
I bid you welcome to Dol Amroth and the Palace of the Swan. My daughter and her friends were just leaving.
Is this a poor time? I hope we bring no interruption.
Oh, none at all, my king. Dorthaneth was a help to me when I ruled Dol Amroth while my father was away. She was a dear friend, and remains so. I cherish her visits, but this one was just ending. I pray you will stay a little longer, leader of the Alvarine. I had hoped to speak with you as well.
My folk expect my return. I should not keep them waiting.
The Queen asks you to stay. Surely you can heed her wish?
If you would come here, please.
Yes? Just one moment. The Queen says to you, as seriously, retrieving a finely crafted bowl and a glass jar from the recesses of her cloak. She manages to fit that stuff in quite well. She removes the cork stopper from the mouth of the jar and slowly pours the crystal clear water contained within into the bowl, spilling not a drop. Will you set this down on the floor just there? She does enjoy her bowls of water.
I do not understand what this means, my queen.
This is water from the river Gilrine, which flows out of the White Mountains. You know this water, Dorthaneth, for you drowsed long beside it and came to sorrow. What does she mean?
This cruelty is unbecoming of you, Queen of Gondor.
I seek not to be cruel. But there are two hearts to be mended here, not just one.
Oh?
Will you not do your part, Nimrodel?
I have not answered to that name in many years.
Maybe so, but there is one here who remembers it.
Oh? Roaming Star. Well, at least now we know what Arwen consulted Roaming Star about. This hall is so cold, but the Queen wants me to speak, so I shall speak. Long ago, and for always, I dwelt within and beside the river Gilride, and my music was the song of sunlight on the water, and of wind in the leaves. But it was a lonely song, for my sisters had gone away, and I did not think that I would see them again. Animals came to the stream to drink, and birds to bathe, but except for such creatures, I was alone and felt the pain of it, until one day an elf maid tarried by the river as she journeyed southward from a distant land. She was more beautiful and radiant than anyone I had ever seen. I sang to her, and she delighted in my song, for it reminded her of home. She danced beside the stream, and I was so gladdened by her presence that the music I made held more enchantment than ever it had before. She slept on the banks of the Gilrine, comfortable and safe, and I was no longer alone. I dreamt that once she awoke she would fashion a home for herself in my wood, and that I would teach her my song, and that she would call me sister. She would have children of her own, elf children of merry eyes and high voices, and I would show them the flower fields of the secret springs, and they would fashion brightly colored petaled crowns to wear, and their mother would delight in them. It was a happy dream, but it lasted too long, and when she at last awoke many seasons had passed. The elf ship that waited in distant harbor for her to arrive could not wait any longer. With selfish hands I stole that life from her, and I grieve every day at the sorrow that I caused her. I didn't intend such sadness to befall, and I would take it back if I could. And yet, it is my doing, and the guilt weighs heavily upon my every moment.
I do not expect you to forgive me, Nimroda. But the Queen wanted me to speak to you of my sorrow. I think that is not cruelty.
And what does Emeraldale have to say about that? I know what cruelty is, maiden of the Gilrine. The world is cruel, and has always been. Can you know my story and say that it is not so? Amroth was a king amongst elves, but to me he was more. He was my love, and the brightest star of my night sky. We must depart, Nimrodel, he said to me, for the doors have awoken terrible evil, and if we stay it will endanger our folk too. And I believed his words. I believe them still, for I know what befell in the centuries since, as he cannot. Amroth went ahead to make ready the ship. I traveled with a small company to join him at the distant harbor, but the passage in the mountains was hard. The high crags filled me with unease. The rocky way troubled my heart. When at last we descended to the lowlands, I danced in the woods and became separated from my folk. So grateful was I to leave the mountains behind. The sound of the river Gilrine was beautiful, and its music had magic in it. And whatever else befell, I cannot remember how it was, and how that I loved it. I slept in peace for too long, and by the time I awoke, a fell wind had come from the north and driven my love's ship from the shore, never to return. It is said that Amroth leapt from the ship and braved the waves that he might wait for me, but never again was he seen by elf or man, though I walked the shore for uncounted days and innumerable nights. I dwelt in sorrow from that day forth, never far from the bay where I lost my love. And I have worn this mourning veil for so long I cannot remember the sight of the sun without it. I have held my grief close, but so too has it held me. Until now I believed that the weight of these heavy chains were only mine to carry. I didn't know you sorrowed too, maiden of the Gilrine. It was not for you to feel that way. Do not burden yourself with the grief that is mine. I spoke of cruelty. The greatest cruelty is that this sadness must snare more than one heart, and for so many years.
I did not know. There is much sadness in the world, maiden of the Gilrine. But there is beauty, too. I do forgive you, Roaming Star, for your part in what befell. But know that of blame, yours was never the greatest share.
Well, and so concludes my queen's greatest purpose in this journey, Pineleaf. She desired to ease Roaming Star's burden, and I believe that we would need to visit the cave of the Alvarine to make this attempt. But we were fortunate that Nimrindel was here in the palace of the Swan, and now we have saved some time. I said Arwen's purpose on this journey was ended, but of course mine is only beginning. We must speak with Prince Imrahil about the continued presence of the Corsairs that threatens Gondor's shoreline, and also about the rise of the Kindred of the Coins in Umbar across the Bay of Balfalis. But we have already achieved some good today, for Roaming Star and Nimrindel each deserve the peace and happiness that their sorrows stole from them. I hope that we have helped lighten their burdens today, and I think that we have. With that business concluded, what shall I do next?
These are truly days of wonder.
I have seen many surprising things in my life, Pineleaf, but I never did expect such figures as these to step from the mists of legend into my hall. These are truly days of wonder. I have some matters to discuss with the king, but I am pleased that you accompanied him to Dol Amroth. I have heard your name recently, and I need you to deal with something personally. Oh, and what is that?
Just a few days ago, the City Watch apprehended a man lurking outside the city.
Apparently, there is a lurker about the city. Who is he, and what does he want? You're going to find that out in the next episode of The Song of Waves and Wind.